Alright guys, so we're just going to do a little bit of practice on parametric equations and trigonometry just to get the concept through. Okay, so first question we have is x is equal to 2 sine t minus 1 and y is equal to 5 cos t plus 4. Now what we intend to do is essentially this. We're just going to have to get a Cartesian equation out of this. Just a Cartesian equation involving x and y. Alright? So, without much further ado, let's get on to the nitty-gritty of the problem. So x is equal to 2 sine t minus 1. X plus 1 is equal to 2 sine t. So half x plus 1 is equal to sine t. Now we're doing this, we're getting sine t because we want to get all of this into trigonometric identities so that we can calculate the Cartesian equation. So y minus 4 is equal to 5 cos t. 1/5 of y minus 4 is equal to cos t. One of the trigonometric identities is sine squared t plus cos squared t is equal to 1. Alright, so we're just going to use that. We're just going to square this side, which eventually will square this side, and this side. So this side plus this side will give you 1, because sine squared plus cos squared is equal to 1. So, right now we're just going to put in the equation. So, half of x plus 1 whole squared plus 1/5 of y minus 4 whole squared is equal to 1. X plus 1 over 2 squared plus y minus 4 over 5 squared is equal to 1. So that means the radius is equal to 1 because this value is essentially r squared. And now for the center of the circle. Essentially, this has to equal 0. Alright? Which means x plus 1 over 2 squared is, just a rephrase on that. It's not x plus 1 over 2 whole squared is equal to 0. That's not it. That's not what what you have to do to calculate the x value. What you do have to do to calculate the x value is this. It's just what's inside that bracket. So x plus 1 over 2 is equal to 0. So x plus 1 is equal to 0, x is equal to negative 1. Alright? And y therefore is equal to 4 if you calculate it. So we have a circle with negative 1, 4 as the center, and radius is equal to 1. That's all there is to it. Alright guys, on to the next question. And that is x is equal to sine t and y is equal to tan t. Well, the first thing I always do is find the relation between the two. So in the previous one it was just sine and cos, and we could use one trigonometric identities. Here we have to use a different trigonometric identity, which is tan of t is equal to sine of t over cos of t. Alright? What that essentially means is that since x is equal to sine of t, y is equal to sine of t over cos of t, it essentially means y is equal to x over cos of t, right? But we can't exactly put it as cos of t. We need to come to a Cartesian equation which involves x and y. So we need to find a way to transform this into cos. Now, as we know from before, sine squared t plus cos squared t is equal to 1. Similarly, we can use this and this equation to come to a value for for cos of t in terms of x. So x is equal to sine of t, x squared is equal to sine squared t, right? And here we can relate that sine squared t plus cos squared t is equal to 1. Therefore, sine squared t is equal to 1 minus cos squared t. But what we want is cos of t, right? We want cos of t. So, x is equal to 1 minus cos squared t. So cos squared t is equal to 1 minus x. So cos, moving on to here, cos of t is equal to the square root of 1 minus x. Therefore, what essentially that boils down to is y is equal to x over square root of 1 minus x. And that is your Cartesian equation. Essentially, you have to be able to use different types of trigonometric identities in one question. In this case, we used tan of x is equal to sine of x over cos of x, as well as sine squared t plus cos squared t is equal to 1. Alright? So that's your second question done. Alright guys, now I'm going to do the third and last part of this exercise series, and we're going to finish with something complicated. X is equal to 3 cot of t, y is equal to cosec of t. Remember, we're going to have to identify trigonometric identities that will help us solve this problem. Alright? So, one identity that relates both cot and cosec is 1 plus cot squared t is equal to cosec squared t. That is an identity. And it's derived from the original identity, which is sine squared t plus cos squared t is equal to 1. But I won't go into explaining that because that's very long and complicated. But what we do need to know is that 1 plus cot squared t is equal to cosec squared t. Alright? This is really important, and most people do forget this actually. So let's just get rid of the problems that we have and just put cot on one side and the x and all the other values on the other side. We just want something like this, cot squared and sine squared. We just want those two values to equal something. So x is equal to 3 cot t, y is equal to cosec t. We want a cosec squared, so y squared is equal to cosec squared. Here we have a 3 cot t. We need to put x over 3 is equal to cot t, right? And cot squared t is therefore equal to x over 3 squared, right? So if we just add these two together, we'll get what we want, and that is we're not going to add these two together. This would essentially boil down to 1 is equal to cot squared t minus cosec squared t. So 1 is equal to cot squared t. Cot squared t is x over 3 whole squared minus cosec squared t, which is y squared. So therefore y squared would be equal to x over 3 whole squared plus minus 1. And that is your answer in a Cartesian equation format. Alright, that's all there is to it.